Hey folks, this is the recap from this week's legislative session in Washington, D.C. Just the highlights. Start out with Senate 321, the 688 Battalion Gold Medal. During World War II, we had a problem. We had a huge backlog of getting mail out to the front to the soldiers that were fighting. And of course, that's a huge deal. If you're out on the front, you need to hear from your family, and your family needs to hear from you. The 6888 was an all-black woman battalion that served on the home front in World War II, and they dealt with the backlog. And of course, it was horrifically laborious work. And we just wanted to honor them with the gold medal for their service. So of course, I voted for that. And then Senate 3706, which is to secure the Rural Schools and Community Self-Determination Act of 2000. So in rural schools, especially in the West, oftentimes they're paid for by a thing called PILT, which is payment in lieu of taxes. So if there's not a great tax base there because the land, much of it is owned by the federal government, but you still have schools, you still have roads, they have to be paid for somehow. One of the ways that those are paid for is through the taxes and the royalties that come from timbering or other resource mining, that type of thing. Well, the environmental concerns in the United States don't allow for the timbering, so there's no money to pay for the schools. So it's not the people's there's fault that this is happening. The people that are there, it's not their fault that it's happening, but they still need to keep their schools open. So I voted in favor of that while we try and fix that problem. The Stand Up Act of 2021 regarding suicide training and awareness directs DHS or HHS to award funds to Public Health Service Acts for mental health activities that prioritize suicide prevention among 6th to 12th grade students. So that's important as well. H.R. 55, the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act as amended, which establishes lynching as a federal crime under the civil rights law with a max sentence of 30 years. And I voted in favor of that. Of course, House Resolution 956, supporting the people of Ukraine with what's going on. I voted in favor of that. And then finally, H.R. 3967, the Honoring Our Pact Act of 2021. And what this relates to is burn pits. And if you're unfamiliar, when you're deployed as a military service member overseas, obviously these are war-torn countries and places like that that don't have the same standards that we do. In any case, the trash, all of the trash is usually thrown into a huge burn pit. And I'm talking plastics, electronics, paint, all that stuff. It's all thrown in and set on fire. If you're near the burn pit or you are often near the burn pit, you can develop symptoms related to the caustic gases coming out of the burn pit. As a matter of fact, truth be told, I felt like I had some issues when I came back from Iraq. So we want to take care of those veterans and do it the correct way. Now, I voted in favor of a bill that would do that. For instance, when you come back from one of those places, it might take years for your symptoms to develop. And so the bill that they eventually passed that I voted against only went up to 5 years. We want to go out 10 years to make sure that people have time for their symptoms to be manifest. And if that's the case, then to receive the care from the VA that they have earned. The other thing that the bill that I voted against, and oh, by the way, the ranking member and I think roughly 175 members of Congress voted against it because it created a two-tier system. So if you're in the VA right now and you have a claim for some service-related disability, you have to wait until the claim is determined to be valid or not. This bill would have put all the people that claimed that they had a burn pit injury right to the front of the line in front of everybody else that's been waiting and has followed the process heretofore. That's just not appropriate. The other thing is if you have a claim that's service related, you have to tell the VA that you have a claim, and they have to do some investigation to make sure it is service related. In this case, under this legislation, if you said you have a service related claim due to the burn pit, immediately that would just be accepted. Again, a two-tier system. So I absolutely, as a veteran myself, agree that we need to pay for and provide the health care that veterans have earned associated with their service, but not create a two-tiered system where some get and some do not. So unfortunately, I voted against that with about 175 other of my colleagues. So that's the update or the recap for the week. I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next week.